We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earth. We want what we put up to go in terms of a guarantee. We want a guarantee. We're handing them money hand over fist. We're giving them equipment. European is not keeping up with us. They should equalize. And look, we have an ocean in between. They don't. It's more important for them than it is for us.
The NATO summit coming up between the United States and the Minister of Defense of NATO, which including some of the delegation from Ukraine, is going to be seminal. This is going to be a very serious event. J.D. Vance then heading over to the Munich Security Conference, as well as Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. This is about finishing up the story. The kinetic arm of the Third World War has been canceled. We are shutting it down. You've got two combat veterans of the global war on terror, J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth, who are coming over, and they'll be backstopped come Wednesday by a third named Lieutenant Colonel Tulsi Gabbard when she's confirmed as the DNI. And the backstop is this. You do not send the American warfighter, or you do not get the United States involved in wars that do not directly benefit the United States of America, and particularly as defined by the American people. So if this is something that's a direct benefit to the American people, then perhaps it's something we'll pursue. But if this is a war that benefits the military-industrial complex, that benefits the globalist leaders in Brussels, who I'll be seeing very, very soon, if it's a war that benefits the few at the expense of the many, then it is a war that will be shut down and ended. And yes, it will be ended peacefully. And yes, there will be terms. And you know something? Not everyone will love the terms. That's just how it goes. But you know what, folks? That's the way negotiations work. When everybody gets around 80%, when everybody's a little bit upset because nobody got everything they wanted, that's how you know it was a good negotiation. If someone's a little too happy at the end of the negotiation, you know that they won. But when it comes to President Trump, he understands this. Peace is the prize. That is MAGA world peace, and that was what was on the ballot last November. Because we understood the nuclear escalation spiral that Joe Biden had put us in. We understood the nuclear escalation spiral that Kamala Harris put us in 3 years ago when she herself spoke at the Munich Security Conference and said definitively, Ukraine will become a part of NATO, a full member, which had always been a red line for the Russian Federation. Now, you may not like that. You may not agree with that. You should say Ukraine should be able to do what they want. But guess what? If you're poking a bear, you don't get to turn around and act like you didn't just poke the bear. You have to understand that there are consequences for your actions because we live in a real world. And in a real world, the enemy gets a vote. Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. So understand that and think backwards from it. It's about the people, period. That's why President Trump was the first president to go to the Super Bowl, who, by the way, I'm told, met with some of the victims' families of the January 1st attack, which took place there on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. A terrorist who should never have been here in this country. A terrorist who had become radicalized. A terrorist who could have been taken off the field, literally the field in this case, but rather the FBI was so focused on all these other things going around, going after J6ers, going after President Trump, going after his family, going after praying grandmas, going after traditional Catholic, that a literal ISIS attack was allowed to take place and did take place on New Year's Eve, Bourbon Street. So just remember this, folks. Just remember this. You can have the country you want. And you know that phrase? We're going to update that phrase. So last year, the phrase was, we don't have to live like this. We don't have to live like this. How many times did I say that phrase? We don't have to live like this. I'm not saying that phrase anymore. The new phrase is this. We won't live like this anymore. We will not live like this anymore. The American people won't live like this anymore because the American people won't stand for this anymore. That is the agenda that President Donald J. Trump, J.D. Vance, and the entire MAGA, DOGE team was elected to initiate